What's up guys, Chris here from Chrissy's Fishies, and I am back with another little video. Again, I'm going to answer a question that one of you guys had asked me, and that is, what are easy plants or beginner plants for a fish tank? So I'm going to try to go over what I have in my fish tank first, and kind of just explain to you what is easiest. There's a few plants in here that I don't know the name of. For instance, I don't know if you can see this little guy here. It's got a little bit of red in it. I can't think of the name of it. Between this one and this one right here, I'm not quite sure what they are. They're not doing that great anyway, so I wouldn't recommend them. Let's start up top. I know I got a lot going on up here, but any floating plant to me, I feel like is a pretty easy plant. I have red root floater. For a while they were doing really great for me, and the only reason they're not doing so well now is I think something else up here is just kind of taken over. But red root floater is a good one. You got Amazon frog bit. That's a nice floating plant that's pretty easy to take care of. Let's see, we'll keep it up top here. The plant that you see that's all green up top, that's kind of taken over the top of the water. Well, one, I wouldn't recommend getting any kind of floating plant with this plant, so do either one or the other. This one here, I believe, is called Elodea Densa. All right, very easy growing. You don't have to plant it, but you can plant it. I did plant mine. It's back here in the back right corner. I just kind of shoved a small piece in the ground, and it slowly started to take over in this way, and it just went right for the surface. My hanging-back filter is over here, so kind of slowly kept pushing it back down, so it eventually just reached up over here. There's not a lot of water movement over here, so it's just zigzagging up top and taking over, which I don't mind. I'm just kind of letting my fish tank go. So yeah, Elodea Densa. Guess I'll kind of work my way down. I got some tall stuff here that's kind of working its way on the right hand side. And you can kind of see a little bit over here back behind the logs. This stuff is fast growing, and I feel like it's pretty easy. And I believe this was called fruit primrose. All right, and again, it's fast growing. It's easy to take care of. You put it in here, and after it grows, like my tank is I believe this is 24 inches tall. It's up at the surface, and what I usually do is cut off like 6 to 8 inches and just stick it somewhere else, and it just in a few short days it already starts growing its roots, and it just takes off. That stuff back there is doing pretty well. More tall plants right next to the fruit primrose is water wisteria. I believe that's pretty easy. Same thing, it's kind of fast growing. As long as it's got a good bit of light source, it tends to grow pretty fast. Same thing with the primrose, the water wisteria. Once it reaches my surface, which again I need to do, it's kind of hard to see behind the Elodea Densa, but it's touching the water surface right now. So what I need to do is I like to cut back like 6 to 8 inches and just shove it back down into my substrate, and it'll start sprouting roots and take off, and before you know it, in a few months, this whole back area should be pretty dense, as long as enough light source gets to it. So water wisteria, another easy one. One more tall one in the back. It's a type of Amazon sword. It's not just your plain Amazon sword. I don't know if it's like Amazon sword tall, but I don't know if you can see it back there. I'm going to try to take pictures and post it on here for you, but it's really tall, and at one point my leaves were actually stretching out of water, and that was before I had my light source up top, but I didn't want it to go up and just die, so I ended up just snipping them off. But that way underwater will do pretty good, the Amazon sword. Any type of moss I feel like is pretty easy. I know moss can get quite expensive. I said in another video, I got some right here on this log. You can't kind of see it anymore because of my guppy grass, which will also be on that list, is taking over. So there's a lot sitting on the rocks back here is moss. The Maurice mill or marrow moss balls. They're pretty easy. Kind of just let them float around, and they usually do pretty well. But I got moss here, moss here. What I was going to say is in another video that I had, I took this moss literally straight from my backyard. Now I tried to look it up. They call it like either common backyard moss. This could be potentially Christmas moss because it does, up close, it looks like little tiny Christmas trees sprouting. So again, any type of moss I feel like is an easy plant to take care of. How about over here? You might not be able to see it, but on this more flat log over here, I have some Java fern. That I think is pretty easy. Again, Java fern, that is not an under the substrate root, so you definitely want to tie that to a log or a rock and just let the roots kind of free flow throughout the water column, and they'll gather, just waste that way and kind of grow. That one's not doing so great, only because I have other stuff blocking over there. It's not getting a lot of light, but Java fern is another easy one. Let's go back over here. Guppy grass. This guppy grass is mine's doing great. You know, you can see that it's just covering up this whole corner. Kind of looks like a whole wooded mess here, but I kind of like it. Again, other videos, I got shrimp crawling in through here. I can see, 4 or 5 red and orange specks. They're my shrimp, and they love it. They're constantly in here. The baby fry are swimming in and out of here, just under coverage if you have larger fish. I only have guppies, neon tetras, and mollies, so everything's pretty small. So some of the fry you can kind of see swimming around is not being bothered. But this guppy grass is another easy one, and it's just a good protection for some of your smaller aquatic life. All right, how about we go over here to dwarf sag. All right, this dwarf sag, it's called like dwarf sagittaria, commonly known just dwarf sag. It is just an easy plant, I think, to take care of. Under high light, I believe it'll stay shorter. It can grow fast if it's under low light because it wants to reach a surface. If it's not getting a lot of light, it wants to reach high and find that light. But if there's plenty of light, it'll stay short. You don't have to worry about a lot of trimming. But I just stuck it in here a few weeks ago, and a lot of times when you buy plants, they'll tell you that it can, what do they call it, wilt, basically, and it kind of dies at first, but once it gets used to your water column, it'll take off and start doing better. But mine didn't. My dwarf sag did pretty well. I feel like I actually haven't seen any of it really kind of die on me. But I would say that's another easy one, is dwarf sag. Now, there's another one. I believe it's another sagittaria. I think it's called like plataphylla. I could be wrong, but I'll try to take a picture of it and put it on here for you. And it's this guy here. Now this one, I only bought one of these, and it's popped up in 3 other locations. One right behind it. Oh, I'm sorry, I planted the one back behind it, but I planted one behind it, and within a few it was probably within 2 weeks, all of a sudden I got more growing right here. You can't see it, but behind my straight vertical log, there's another set of Sagittaria plataphyllus growing back behind that. And again, it seems to be doing pretty well in my substrate, and I would also recommend that. I'm going to try to, I'll narrow this down too and kind of just give you like what I think is maybe the top 3 easiest out of all the ones that I got, because I know I'm throwing out a lot at you. I think that pretty much covers it. The only other one that I don't have that I think is really easy is any type of Anubias. Anubias, it's a beginner plant. I feel like everybody puts it in their fish tank. I just happen to not buy any, but I would say that's a good one. Is any type of Anubias is a nice one. Yeah, any kind of floating plant. Again, frog bit. I got red root floaters. I feel like they're very easy. The guppy grass is pretty easy, and I would say my primrose. Between those are, they just, I don't know, they just take off and they just do really well. I don't think they require, I don't do any CO2. My water, there's not a lot of fish in here, so there's not a lot of waste, so it's just plenty of light, water, and I feel like those do pretty well. I keep saying like top 3, but I just feel like all of these do really well. The Densa, Elodea Densa, I feel like that does really well. Guppy grass, the primrose, water wisteria, and any kind of floating plants I feel like do really well. As far as down bottom, oh, I'm missing one that I didn't say. Vallisneria. I think this one's called vallisneria. Mine's called vallisneria twisted. I only have one. It's right back here. If it was out in the front here with a little bit more light, it's kind of tucked back in the corner. That one's another one that does pretty well. And again, guys, I'll try to put a list up for you just so you can kind of read and spell out what I've said here. Other than that, I think that's about it, guys. Yeah. The only other thing I would say is if you have any out of water, any kind of like plant holders that you could put plants, that the roots would be in the water and the flowers would be out of water. This one over here, my aluminum plant, that's supposed to be partially submerged, not fully submerged. I didn't find that out until a few weeks ago, but I kind of didn't bother with it. But I'm going to let it go, see how it does. But my plant up top here, that's called pothos. To me, that's a good plant to stick the roots in the water and the leaves outside the water. As long as you have a higher light source. I know you see this LED light strip that I have on top of my fish tank, but clearly you can tell I have another light source up top, which if you look in one of my other videos, I got that from Home Depot or Lowe's, and it's doing a trick. All my plants up top are doing pretty well. But pothos, that's a really easy one. Stick the roots in the water, and that will, it's a slow growing plant, but eventually it's a crawler, as it'll reach out and kind of just crawl across anything that you might have up top. So yeah, well, I think that about wraps it up. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. I'd love to do another video about it. And thanks for tuning in to Chrissy's Fishies. Have a good one.